Very exciting times for ticker symbol CRTD as it makes a rip to the upside of over 40% just today as per expected. My goodness. Let's go ahead and validate what could be happening for the following days on CRTD. What is up, you guys? Thank you so much for stopping by once again on this happy Friday. This is ARCa coming at you with a CRTD technicals and raw price action thread of analysis. Before we get started, please make sure to subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share the video with a friend so that you and them could consider joining our trading community in Discord called ARCa Bulls. With that said, let's dive right into the charts. Okay, so I want to just point out here the volatility versus momentum on the buy hourly still suggesting a massive upside. We are now inside of critical volatility with still and actually one of the moving averages still within the bullish control zone here and suggesting a massive upside still on the way. Let's move on to the next chart and see what we got. Okay, so this was the demand zone that we've been looking at for actually for weeks now, right? So we did identify it when we were trading right about here somewhere, right? But we did come back and retrace to test that area, right? So I did mention that it's very likely that we can find a bounce from this zone here. Lots of confirmation happened in a consolidation here for the span of about 4 days, maybe even a week. And then now, of course, we're moving on to that upside as per expected. Okay, so now let's move on to the next chart as I do see still some targets going up to about 33 cents to about 36 cents, but we need to validate the new area of support to the downside first, which is likely to be probably within about 24 to 25 cents before a continuation onto the upside, maybe even a little lower. But I have to show you why. Okay, first of all, this is the broadening descending wedge that we've noticed on the 5-day chart. Okay, so this is showing us the resistance of the top trend line. Okay, of course, we failed it and now we came back up to make sure that we can validate this as a continuation to the upside, because remember, we still have not failed officially by closing a candle below this trend line. Okay, so that would be complete failure upon closing a 5-day candle here. But as you can see, this is a newer candle. We have a 4 days and 22 hours of this new 5-day candle. So this is absolutely bullish that now we've printed a wick upside of the candle itself. So by default, even if this came back down and closed down here and started a new candle, we still haven't failed this line because the wick came upside and penetrated that resistance line. Okay, so this is very bullish for CRTD, and it's suggesting massive upside targets from here. Okay, some of which I'm afraid to talk to, but they're absolutely relevant. Okay, so now let's go ahead and continue on to the next chart. So this is the hourly chart that we're looking at here for CRTD. Okay, so now I find a lot of relevance within this target here for a loading zone. Okay, meaning that this is the reaccumulation area before we continue on to the upside. Why? Well, not only for the fact that we came back to the resistance here and we're actually facing that resistance for reaccumulation, and I mean also because of the let's see, I think it was the hourly momentum versus volatility, and I will go ahead and pull it up here. Actually, there we go. So and also because the hourly momentum versus volatility is in critical volatility and now suggesting a top out. Okay, so very likely this is likely to live out really fast. By the way, you guys, in 1 hour this thing can be like this, right? So this is suggesting a top out and it's suggesting a continuation to the way down, potential correctional wave though. Okay, so this is looking very good. This is looking very good. So if I can see an area for reaccumulation, definitely to be within the area of about 22.96 to about 24.85, just like we were talking about in the previous chart. Let's move on to the last part of the analysis here, as this is where another confirmation to the downside for reaccumulation is showing up, which is great. This is absolutely great because it gives us the opportunity to get long this stock and really rip it to the upside alongside other bulls. Okay, so please notice the 30-minute immediate short-term time frame crossing below the 14-day simple, suggesting a downside continuation and sitting within the gravitational zone of the bull strength percentile. Very likely to find some downside here. Aside from that fact, we are looking at a potential trend line regression rejection here. So there could be this type of situation happening right now to where we can find that support from right in this area here, which just so happens to be, of course, the gravitational zone of the bull weakness percentile. And then we face the bounce to the upside. Okay, not always in trading does linear regression work anymore, okay, but it's still present. So now go ahead and notice that the bi-hourly time frame is suggesting a downside as well. Also lives out pretty fast. Usually within a half a session, right? This can live out within it. Okay, so this is likely to come back and retrace to find a support from the 14-day simple moving average, which could be right around this zone here, which just so happens to be, of course, the gravitational zone of the bear weakness percentile. Okay, so upon making that downside, then this can actually make a correctional wave to the upside and make that upside continuation even still more imminent than already, right? So now let's move on to the 8-hour time frame. As you can see, the 8-hour time frame is showing a very tiny pivot. We don't like to trust these little pivots, right? But the thing is here is that we are suggesting a little bit of consolidation on the signal, but we are getting a small hint from that 14-day simple that it's suggesting an upside. Very important thing to notice, and something that we were talking about yesterday, is that we were already crossing it, and we were using it as a form of support before a continuation onto the upside. As you can see, it's been a long-standing resistance, that 14-day simple. Now we officially broke out of it. Upside is absolutely suggesting it, okay? Upside is being suggested here. Now, what validates the upside for the 8-hour is, in fact, the 12-hour. Please notice that the 12-hour also has been below that 14-day simple and has now violently crossed that 14-day simple moving average, and it's suggesting an upside continuation as well. As you start to dive into the bi-daily, you can see that we may have a limited upside, okay? Even if we look at the 3-day time frame, you can see that there is a limited upside. But please remember, bi-daily and 3-day distance between the RSI signal and the 14-day simple is quite the distance away, meaning very impulsive upside can be expected. Similar situation here to the 5-day iteration, except that in the 5-day iteration, we're getting very close to that gravitational zone, suggesting the potential, the possibility of actually crossing and succeeding the 14-day simple for a macro upside. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and evaluate that later. Okay, you guys. But if we're looking at potential retracement, like I said, just in the previous chart right over here, 2296 to 2485 seems like the area that's going to be most relevant for loading. And then the upside continuation, very likely to touch on the area of about 3331. Let me just do this. Yeah, 3319 to about 3611 in the coming days, okay? Meaning Monday or Tuesday. Please remember, I'm not a financial advisor. Take whatever I do show and iterate within these videos as just a form of entertainment, as I cannot suggest for you to buy or sell any assets. I need you to do your own due diligence and everything will be just fine, okay, you guys? So yesterday in the live stream for CRTD, I actually did mention that this play was an A- play, and we were absolutely sitting down here, okay, you guys? So the warning was there. The play actually did get put up. We did not reach the downside that we wanted, but the impulsiveness actually happened to the upside, very likely to what's happening with the Alpine Brokers deal, right? There's a lot of stuff happening within that. And a lot of talk around what's happening there too, suggesting the March 29th, right? So very, very interesting things here happening for the heavily shorted stocks. So they might be back. We might be facing a very interesting market-wide, heavily shorted meme stock short squeeze, right? So we'll go ahead and see how that plays. We don't want to play the squeeze game, guys. We want to go ahead and just make sure that we can make the runs on very, very wise choices, okay? But still, lots of illegal activity already found within CLNV. Definitely illegal activity to be found within CRTD and GTII. Lots of manipulation there, guys. We don't want to be a part of that stuff. We just want to make sure that they get regulated and kicked out, right? So we're whatever that means. Thank you so much for everybody doing that fundamental analysis that actually works very well for the rest of us, okay? So thank you guys so much for all the work that you do. All right, you guys, but with that said, I wish everybody a very good night, a great weekend, and I will catch you at the bell on Monday. Adios.